All right, what's up everybody? It's Ethan here, and with a friend of mine today, Lord Voldemort, and we are in the middle of nowhere in Utah, like literally the complete middle of nowhere, and we're hiking in the desert. It is the end of December, so it's pretty cold. It's like low 20s right now. There's some snow. Hoping that's not going to be too much of an issue because we are going to be attempting to do a slot canyon out here today in the San Rafael swell area. It's called Moonshine Wash. This the actual slot part of the canyon is only about a mile and a half long, and it's semi-technical. We did bring some rope in case we need to make a hand line or something, but hopefully we shouldn't have to even do that. Yeah, and yeah, hopefully this should be a good time. This could either be a great time or not such a great time. That remains to be seen, but I'm excited to give this a try. Ever since I was in Death Valley and hiked some of the canyons out there, I have really been wanting to hike another slot canyon, so I'm excited to check this out and give this a try. All right, so we've been hiking through the wash for a little bit. This is the first. There was a little tiny scramble back there, but this is the first real section of scrambling. And as you can see, there is some snow, so hopefully this isn't a good idea of what it's going to be like in the slot. We'll see, I guess. But we got to scramble down through here and then continue that way further into the canyon. All right, this looks like this may be the start of the slot canyon. We'll see what happens. This could about to be getting very interesting. That made no sense, but whatever. This might get very interesting very quickly. Parkour. We doing it. Okay, we are getting down into the canyon now. It's not quite a slot yet, but it's definitely starting to turn into one. So far, no real obstacles or anything like that, but I'm sure that'll be coming down the pipe a little later. We're definitely going to try to make sure, since it's winter, that we don't get ourselves in too deep, and that anything that we down climb, we can climb back up if we need to. As you can see, there's a little bit of snow. Haven't really seen any big patches of ice yet or water. Hopefully that continues to be the case as we get further in, and the temperature is definitely starting to drop. But this is already looking really cool. All right, so canyon's starting to get pretty narrow. Still really easy to hike through at this moment, but man, it's looking really cool. That's a cool shot right there. And we randomly found this thing from what, deer, antelope, something like that.
Bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah, horse something.
Horse, cow,
Cow.
something like that. Andre the Giant. But yeah, this is
Leftovers from your sister.
oh god. This is starting to look cool, and as you can see, we're starting to get to some little minor obstacles here. So this is pretty awesome. Okay, so we just descended those two little walls right there, and we are down in the actual slot now. So that's what it looks like going forward. So far, it hasn't been anything all too bad, but this is really, really cool. And you can tell it definitely gets more narrow up ahead there. And luckily, so far, it's been almost completely dry. No water and very little snow and no ice. So that has been fantastic. Hopefully it continues that way. And this is really, really beautiful. All right, we're going down this little spot right here. First real down climb in the actual slot. Pretty fun. Doing a little bit of a whatever they call it. What do they call this? Chimneying. Yeah, that's it. Doing some chimneying. And I already tested the up climb. We can do it. Yeah. Yeah, put your foot right there, and then, yeah, I wouldn't try to put your foot out any further. And we got it.
Victory!
And we continue on.
Parkour.
This is really, really cool. And this canyon is definitely getting very, very narrow right now. You can see the floor of the canyon is like, what is that, maybe like 1.5 feet wide?
Some spots. Other spots about a foot.
Yeah, about a foot, 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
2 feet if we're lucky. This is really awesome though. This is a cool slot canyon. So we are getting into a really narrow part of the slot right now. You can see, I mean, that is very, very narrow right there. Super cool. This might be getting down to like the deepest part of the slot right here, I would think, but you never know. And the walls look like they're, what'd you say, a little over 100 feet high?
Maybe 80.
80, something like that. Pretty cool. Maybe it goes a little deeper, we'll see. All right, so we are about to go under the sheep bridge right there, which was used by ranchers in the area. They would actually herd the sheep across that narrow, ridiculously unsturdy looking bridge. And that kind of signifies that we're getting towards the end of the slot portion of this canyon. Which, but yeah, this area here, it's a little more open than it was back there, but the scenery is incredible. This is really cool.
Pussy liquor. About 100.
Okay, so the canyon is definitely opening up now. We're coming out of the slot, getting back into the sun a little bit. And also a little bit more snow, it looks like. But that was really, really awesome. And we may end up heading back that way, or we're gonna try, we're gonna check out the West Fork. And I've heard that that one is more technical than this main fork of the canyon, so we're gonna check it out and see how it goes. But if we get to an area that's a little too sketchy, then we will just turn around and head back up the way we came. But we'll explore, walk down a little bit more of this slot canyon, or well, not a slot anymore, but the canyon, and then go check out the West Fork and see what that looks like. But that was a really cool experience. First slot canyon in, first real slot canyon in Utah for both of us. And that was a great starter one to pick. I'd also like to point out that there's literally nobody out here. We didn't really see anybody on the drive in from Green River. I think we saw one other car the whole time on the road. And there was definitely nobody at the trailhead and nobody else in this canyon. So it's a really nice, quiet place, really beautiful. All right, so we're continuing to hike through the more open part of Moonshine Wash. There's, I'm looking at the All Trails map, and supposedly the spot where people were climbing out of and like where the West Fork is actually a lot further up than I thought it was. I thought it was pretty much right when you exit the slot, but it looks like people were hiking up this canyon at least another mile, mile and a half. So we'll see what happens. But all I know is that worst case scenario, we can always go back the way we came. So we are good to go, and it is still really awesome up here. It's not quite as mind-blowing as actually being in the slot, but this is still really cool to hike through, especially with the utter lack of other people out here. It's definitely a little bit of a different experience than you'd get at Arches National Park. So we just came through the open area there, and it is saying that the All Trails app was saying that this was the area where you're supposed to climb out of the canyon. I'm guessing it might be like up there or something, or maybe we'll see it when we turn the corner. But you can see it's actually kind of going back into a little bit of a slot. I'm sure it'll probably open up around the corner, but it is getting a little more interesting again, at least for a second here. And it's really beautiful. The sun's hitting this area, so there's a lot less snow here, but look at this snow right here. That looks very interesting looking. Very cool. But anyway, we're going to keep going in, see what happens. So this is the entrance to the West Fork of Moonshine Wash. If you go back here, it actually forks multiple times, and there's a way you can get back to see the old Moonshine Spring and where they had the Moonshine distillery. But I don't know how far back into the West Fork we're actually going to go. I've heard that it's significantly more difficult than the main fork of the canyon, but we'll see. He was. But we are going to head a little bit further down the main fork of the canyon just to check it out, and then probably just turn around and head back here, and then we'll see. We'll see. I definitely have my doubts based on what I've seen about us actually going all the way up West Fork, but we'll check it out. All right, well, we've hiked pretty far back into the main fork, which is right out there. We kind of came off of this split off of the main canyon here. It dead ends pretty quickly. And this dead end looks like it would be a fun rappel, but I don't know about climbing up it. That'd be pretty much impossible. I'm trying to film it, but this guy's doing something over here. There we go. Yeah, a good little dry fall right here, but definitely not. I mean, I'm sure it is possible to up climb it, but we're not going to try that shit. Well, go ahead. I'll meet you up there. But anyway, we've gone pretty far back into the main fork, so we might explore a tiny bit more, but we're definitely going to be turning around pretty soon here and going to go check out the West Fork. So made it back to this little side canyon here off the main canyon, and almost climbed up that dry fall, but it's too crumbly, so not gonna do that. But we're gonna head back down there into the main canyon and then start hiking back towards the West Fork from here. It's been a really cool trip so far. Okay, so we came out of that little side canyon right there, really short one, and we're back in the main canyon, and this is our turning around point. We've hiked about, what do you think, about 4 miles in at this point?
Maybe. Yeah.
4, maybe a little bit more than 4, honestly. We've been hiking for a little while, but we're turning around here, and we're gonna give the West Fork a try. Like I said earlier, I don't have high hopes about that working out, but we'll see. And if not, we'll just go back up the main canyon and get out of here. All right, so this is the entrance to the West Fork. Obviously right now it's nice and open, but it will turn into a slot canyon up ahead. And this one would be up climbing instead of down climbing. So like I said, supposedly there's a 30-foot dry fall up here, and apparently it oftentimes has water, a big pool of water at the bottom of it. So we might be getting turned around pretty quickly here. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we can go a little ways in. Well, as stated online, there is a little pool here. It's frozen. I actually just crossed this, and you can just walk across the ice on the left side, at least. The right side, I would not try that. But this side, it looks a little more shallow and easy to cross. But then you get up here, and in that crack, it's wet, and then it's icy on the wall on the side there. So climbing up that was just not really doable, especially when we have a seemingly much better way to go than this. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to be doing the West Fork today. Well, we're definitely not going to be doing the West Fork, but at least we confirmed that we're not doing the West Fork. But yeah, I mean, if it was a different season, I'd definitely be a lot more willing to try. But in winter, don't want to take too many risks here. So if you were wanting to exit the canyon and not do an out and back through the slot, you'd hike up here. This is the exit point out of Moonshine Wash. Now you can see there's a little rock cairn here, another one up there. So you just follow it up. It doesn't look too bad. We are going to climb up, but then back down because we want to go back through the canyon, but we just wanted to climb up and check out the view up there, see what it looks like. Maybe get a little view of some of the surrounding areas. But yeah, we are going to end up climbing back down here into the canyon and just going back through the slot because that seems more fun. Well, we're about halfway up, and there's rock cairns like every 5 feet in case you get lost, which I don't know how you would get lost, but in case you do, the rock cairns are there for you. And this is definitely a fun little scramble out of the canyon. If you don't feel like going back through the slot, this is definitely a good way to end your semi-technical portion of this hike. And we should be almost to the top. Well, I was hoping for a slightly more dramatic view coming out of the canyon, but this still isn't bad. You can see a lot of Moonshine Wash from up here, and you can actually see right there where the West Fork starts and comes around that way. Thank you. And some cool little red rock hills out there, and I believe those are the Book Cliffs way in the distance over there. Not bad. Let me see if I can hike over here just a tiny bit and get a view down into the canyon. Looks like I'll definitely be able to. Yep. Did a lot of hiking through that canyon. Very beautiful. Very cool spot. And it really feels like you're in an area where there's nobody else here. All right, well, I guess we'll take probably a little break up here and then head back down into the slot and hike back to the car. This was definitely a pretty awesome trip so far. I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's really not that bad. I mean, the West Fork, different story, but the main fork of the canyon, that slot section, is really not bad at all. I mean, there is definitely a good amount of scrambling, but I'd say, you know, if you have a little experience with some scrambling, you should be generally okay. All right, we are heading back into the slot canyon. Actually done a pretty good amount of hiking today. Should be about just over 2 miles maybe from here back to the trailhead. But this is the fun part. except for this sand, which is kind of god awful. This is the narrowest part right here, I think, but this is it's not even to the point where you need to take your backpack off, so it's not too bad. I just almost did a split there. Huh?
My foot slipped in between the rock. Fuck you.
Yeah. I'd say up climbing has definitely been a little bit more of a challenge, but it's not too bad. Now I am. All right, we're doing the last up climb out of the slot. There it is down there. Everything past this point should be a little bit easier. And somebody very kindly left a beer and a cigarette butt over here, which I don't think was there this morning. But yeah, we are heading out that way. All right, so we are officially completely out of the canyon. This is where it starts, right here. And we now just have to hike up the wash. I think it's about a mile to get, maybe a little less than a mile, to get back to the car. And there are a couple of very minor up climbs in this wash, but nothing too crazy. All right, so we made it back to the completely unmarked trailhead. It's basically just a loop where the road ends. If you're wondering, by the way, where it's rocked off right there, that's where you start hiking down. Definitely, I would say bring a GPS on this hike. Download like the All Trails map, use that at the very least, because we definitely needed the assistance of that on the way back up out. I mean, going in, it seemed like it was easy to follow, but the wash splits a bunch of times when you get out of the slot canyon, and you can definitely get lost pretty easily if you don't pay attention. But there's the scenery here at the trailhead. It's really beautiful. Lots of red rock, open desert, and then way out there in the distance, those are the Henry Mountains, a very remote mountain range out here in Utah. And we're still the only people out here. There's literally nobody else here. We haven't seen anybody the entire day. We saw one jackrabbit. That's about it. One jackrabbit and a most likely dead lizard. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video up here. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next hiking adventure, which will most likely also be out here in Utah. Have a good one, guys.